Alright, major spoilers ahead for Rise of Skywalker. You have been warned. Any footage used in this video, the sources will be linked in the description, and it also belongs to Lucasfilm. So I'm going to see Rise of Skywalker a third time with my brother, my dad, and my mom, who's already seen it once. And so my brother and my dad haven't seen it at all. So they're going in completely blank. And the reason you see major spoilers in the title is because there will be major spoilers in this video. And the first thing that I want to point out is how cool it was to have Harrison Ford, even though it was a cameo for 5 seconds, it it brought back that nostalgia. Now, I did not grow up with the originals. When I talk about Star Wars, it's primarily the Clone Wars that I grew up with, essentially. And so, yeah, the Clone Wars TV show, Cartoon Network, really good series. I recommend checking it out on Disney Plus if you haven't seen it. And I really like that they brought Harrison Ford back for like 5 seconds. So, yeah. That's your first major spoiler there. So, yeah. It goes without saying that there is major spoilers in this review. But, yeah. No telling how much they had to pay Harrison Ford to come back. Because he did end in The Force Awakens. So, yeah. And then there's Luke, which we kind of had an idea that he would be back for this movie. And, yeah. I really liked having him back too. It was really cool. Then there's Carrie Fisher that they worked in with footage they had because she had actually already passed away. So she's already been gone for 3 years. That's crazy. And they worked it in very well. And she actually has pretty much a critical role in this movie, which I am really surprised at. And so, yeah. So, one thing I really did like, and I actually like quoting it quite a bit, was when Rey has a vision and it's force visions from the past of Kylo Ren killing Han Solo and some other things that happened, and you can hear the original voice of Darth Vader by James Earl Jones himself, and it really is kind of nostalgic, to be honest. And yeah, then there's a reference to the prequels with the path to the dark side is the pathway to many abilities some consider unnatural. And we did get a quick explanation about Snoke. It goes without saying, Emperor Palpatine made Snoke. So yeah, there's a lot more things that I am going to discuss here. The one thing I will say about this movie, if I had to say something about it that was criticism, was how quick it was. Like, it felt really quick. Like, they got into the action pretty quickly. Now, they've kind of always done that in the fact that they've opened with big battles and such, but it was really quick. And I really liked hearing James Earl Jones's voice for a couple of seconds. I have been every voice inside your head. And it was really a mixed match of all of them. It was really a mix of all kinds of voices, and James Earl Jones really stuck out to me as one I could hear the most. And so, yeah. And then there was a reference to the path to the dark side is the path to many abilities some consider unnatural. So that was really cool to hear. In terms of the Knights of Ren, they were really there just to look cool and be cool. They got hunted down and stuff by the end. But yeah, it was really cool to see them there. Now, they kind of threw fun at The Last Jedi, poked fun at it a little bit and stuff. I wouldn't consider The Last Jedi that bad of a movie, honestly. And they did take some elements from The Last Jedi and put them in here. But, yeah, they did kind of briefly touch on, like I said earlier, Snoke. The Emperor Palpatine has kind of been this whole trilogy's villain. It's been the whole Skywalker saga's villain the whole time. And so, yeah, he's the puppet master, as they would say, to all of the trilogy. Prequel, sequels, and all of them. So, yeah, even in the Clone Wars, he was a little bit of a puppet master, as far as I can remember. And he's not really in this movie, but his voice was heard in this movie. There was a certain part that there was a lot of voices heard, and you could hear a few familiar voices if you listened very carefully. If you listened very carefully, you could hear Yoda, Mace Windu, Anakin. You could hear all of them, just about. And I couldn't really tell all of them. I knew there was 2 female voices in that part. And so, yeah. There was 2 or 3 girl or woman voices that I couldn't tell who they were. But I feel like one of them was Ahsoka Tano. But I know for sure one of them was Mace Windu, one of them was Luke, one of them was Yoda, Anakin, all of them, just about. Mace Windu. So, yeah. I want to wrap this video up by saying, go watch the movie for yourself. If you've already seen this, if you've already seen the review or the movie, I mean, then what did you think about it? Did you think it was the definitive end to the Skywalkers? I feel they potentially set up an episode 10. Now that they don't really have too much to work with, they can kind of set it up to do something else if they wanted to. And I feel the way that this movie ends is setting up a potential episode 10. Not saying that they would set up or do an episode 10, but there is something that they could do with an episode 10. So, yeah. What did you guys think of this movie? I have to give it a score of 10 out of 10 because it was pretty good. The Force Awakens is kind of on the same level. and The Last Jedi, I'm going to give it at least an 8 out of 10. Guys, I want to give the score of Rise of Skywalker a 10 out of 10. Now, I want to preserve the movie for most or some people who haven't seen it. The few people who haven't seen it, go watch it. If you've watched this whole video, you didn't care about the spoilers. Anyone who puts spoilers anywhere else other than this video, I will ban you from this channel.